I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that I believe I could have run behind you. Martin, I can remember when we came to Scrimmage and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. And you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I learned that fixing that biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on the radio dial. The Martin Houston Show also simulcasting on Facebook at Martin Houston Live and Tide 109. Also Martin Houston Live on YouTube and at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. We're glad to have you up and Adam with us on this beautiful Friday morning. We're a eve of scrimmage number 2, so you know we're going to be talking about the scrimmage and maybe do a little rundown of each group and what you as the coach would like to see. So you're going to be the coach for the day. What would you like to see from each position group coming out of spring? If you were the coach of this Alabama team, what would be your top 1, 2, 3 goals to make sure that you get accomplished as a football team? Also, big news on the hardwood in terms of Alabama basketball. We'll talk about that. Also, news on the transfer portal from Alabama football. One name you probably not surprised. The other, maybe considering that still may be one of my biggest question marks as far as position grouping. And to see a young man from that group leave makes me wonder how bad we missed on that one. May not have been a miss at all, but just an interesting thought. And we'll talk about who, what, and how there. Also, Coach Stallings giving Saban some advice made me think of a question in this new NIL world. When's going to be the first player on the collegiate level to do what a lot of the NFL guys do and form a foundation? Who's going to be that first Bama guy to give back instead of just getting? And we'll see if that happens anytime soon. And so, and speaking of NIL, appears to be big news coming from the state of Louisiana regarding high school athletes and NIL. Love to get your thoughts there as well. You're listening to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. You can get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Once again, that's 205-342-9904. The Alabama One hotline is open for business. And before we get things rolling like we do each and every day, we want to remind you that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
All doing well today, Martin. Ready to see what the weekend has in store for us. We got kind of a fun weekend for the Tide, softball and baseball in action, and of course, all eyes are going to be. We're going to be all eyes on Bryant-Denny Stadium. We got to figure out who's going to be in the stadium to rely on for some sources to figure out what's going on tomorrow's scrimmage.
Yeah, that will be an interesting time. It's the A Club scrimmage, so it'll be interesting to see what stories you hear coming back from whom and how reliable those sources are. So, but yeah, it is exciting time. We're going to get to that spring, but as you said, a couple other things happening around, the sporting world. Of course, Alabama has a series with Ole Miss coming up in baseball, and the gymnastics meet. We hadn't talked about that. That's next week, but they're preparing to maybe make a run. Basketball has things going on, so it's a lot always going on around the capstone. Track and field, cross country getting going to women's tennis. So yeah, man, if you're looking for something to do sports wise. You definitely can find it around the capstone. A couple quick sidebar things that are not directly related to the scrimmage. May not be as quick as I say quick. Maybe a little deeper conversation. But DeMarc Sears to Bama. We talked about it yesterday on the show that Mark Sears, I think it was DJ Howard saying, "Hey, that's somebody we need to get him. We got to get him." And thought it was going to be a little longer journey to get there, Joe. But Mark Sears uh, landing back home. Mama called, I guess. That'll be one of those great stories somewhere down the road if he's able to come back and help this team, maybe even break that glass ceiling. But there'll be a lot of Mama came calling references for this young man. But what did Nate Oates get in Mark Sears?
Martin, I'm really happy that Alabama was able to secure his commitment, and really, I'm a little surprised. Like you said, a little earlier than I expected. He had originally scheduled a visit for A-Day, in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I thought, that'll be the time we might have a decision, and he was one of the most highly sought after transfers that jump in the transfer portal. So I thought, he's for sure going to weigh his options, but no, Coach Oates Coach Oates and company secured his commitment. I'm really pumped, Martin. What we're getting is a ball dominant guard, a guard who's been really the primary ball handler for Ohio University for the last 2 years with the Bobcats. And so I think on a team where you're losing JD, JQ, Shaq, Keon, you're losing a lot of your primary ball handlers to bring in a veteran ball handler with college experience. It's going to be a huge thing for the Tide. Mark Sears averaged almost 20 points per game last year for the Bobcats, so he's going to be able to score the basketball as well. So I think this is a huge pickup for the Crimson Tide.
It is. Let me ask you this: as you said, 19.6 points, 41% shooter, 40.8% shooter. 144 assists, few double doubles, 35.7 minutes per game is what he averaged. Is this? We haven't seen Burnett yet from Texas Tech. He seems to fit Nate Oates' system, but is this the most Nate Oates type of guard for the offense from the offensive side of the ball? Is this the guy that appears to be the best fit overall? Just looking from a statistical standpoint of what Nate wants from that position.
Yeah, I think that he is really fits in what Coach Oates wants to do. Yeah, I mean, maybe he's a couple inches shorter than what Coach Oates would like as far as a length standpoint, but as far as mentality and style of play, I think he's exactly the kind of player that's going to fit into Alabama. He's going to be able to push the ball up the court. But he's always going to be aggressive. He's always looking to score, looking to set up his teammates. I think he's going to be a really big addition when you consider Alabama bringing in Jaden Bradley, freshman out of IMG Academy. I think Mark Sears provides probably a veteran voice in that backcourt that will help Jaden Bradley make good decisions and be mature and kind of keep him settled as he assimilates into the college game.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mark Sears headed to the Tide. Nate Oates building a major roster turnover, some out of, I think, just aging out, some out of necessity, and some out of making room. But he's already started that process of filling the gaps. And with Mark Sears, who on his social media post said in all caps, "I'm coming home, hashtag roll tide." So Bama gets a big one out of the portal. Nate Oates, a couple more of those, and I'm still excited. I shouldn't say we'll be even more excited about the potential of this 2022-23 basketball program. Hey, get the guys that can knock it down from three, score 20 points, and assist 144 of those. Sounds like exactly what the doctor ordered, or at least Dr. Oates in this case. Coming back on the other side, we'll transition to a little football. I do want to hit the NIL law and get your thoughts, Joe, on the law that was passed in Louisiana. Was that all about one family, one person? Is it a good idea or not? We'll talk about it right here on the Martin Houston Show. Then we'll dig deep into this spring practice. You listen to the Martin Houston Show, and you can be a part of it once again by calling the Alabama One hotline at 205-342-9904. Alabama1.org is where you can go find out about all the great services being offered by Alabama One Credit Union. Couple great promotions that are launching. Order a tractor with a side of big green egg. That's right. Alabama One is giving away a big green egg. If you get a qualified loan on tractor or specialty vehicles, commercial and ag equipment, as well as those recreational vehicles, ATVs, boats, RVs, etc. And we'll be giving away one for the next 12 weeks once that starts rolling. So go check it out. And you can find both of those there. It's that springtime. It's time to play or start planning. And we want to help you get off to a great start at Alabama One. All right. That's alabama1.org. Stop by one of our branch locations or go get all the information right there on the website. Coming back on the other side, more Alabama football and NIL conversation.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, everything pretty quiet as we start our Friday morning. If you do see any conditions that folks need to hear about, of course, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection of new cars, trucks, SUVs, and they really want your trade. They'll save you thousands. Go see them. I've got them right.
Tuscaloosa Gunsmith does gun repair, modifications, cleaning, Cerakoting, and laser engraving for guns, and they sell Black Rifle coffee. Tuscaloosa Gunsmith, just off 15th Street behind the fire station.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadways.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit DriveSafeAlabama.org. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Another prescription, another surgery. Here we go again. But the joint pain is still here.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. Try something new that can lead you to a better life.
Football champion Emmett Smith's talking about QC Kinetics, all natural, non-invasive alternatives to surgery and harmful pain medications.
I tried to avoid as many of those things as possible because I did not want to get hooked on pain meds. I didn't want those things to hamper my life.
Patients across the country are saying no to pain meds and discovering QC Kinetics all-natural, biologic, long-lasting solutions to pain relief. Regenerative treatments that help your body restore damaged tissue and get rid of the pain.
The natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
End the cycle of pain meds and avoid surgery.
Call QC Kinetics, 205-686-1941. That's 205-686-1941. QC Kinetics, 205-686-1941.
Work is a part of all of us. Working drives us to push beyond what we thought was imaginable and allows us to come together again for the things that really matter. That's why the Alabama Department of Labor and the Alabama Career Center system is here to help you discover bigger opportunities than ever before. Visit your local career center or alabamaworks.alabama.gov. Funding provided by the USDOI, PTA, and Federal WIOA, the Equal Opportunity Employer Program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request. Brought to you by this station, the Alabama Broadcasters Association.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Windy and noticeably cooler today with out times. Chance of a few spotty showers this afternoon, the high 59. For tonight, clearing and cold. The wind will die down. A chance of frost early tomorrow morning. The low at 35 degrees. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3020 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 45 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904. Tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
No, it hadn't. We don't have enough offensive linemen that everybody doesn't have to, sort of rotate around and do a lot of different things. So we'll continue to evaluate it. Guys are making progress, and but it hadn't settled down because we have a lot of guys that we only got 10, 11 guys that are able to practice in the offensive line. All right, so we're trying to practice 3 or 4 teams of guys. So guys have to mix and match. We have 7 guys per group, and they have to rotate around. Is it important that we build continuity in the offensive line right now? I think the diversity that we gain from the experience that guys get at various positions is probably more important right now than worrying about what you're worried about. But, we do have some guys that are making progress at tackle, and hopefully they'll continue to improve throughout the spring.
All right. That's Coach Nick Saban. I want you to hold on to that audio for a moment because I want you to is Nick Saban correct, or was he just deflecting? Is it possibly more valuable to get some diversity in that offensive line versus settling on the top 5 guys who are going to be that starting unit? So we'll have that conversation in just a moment, but I got a caller and also want to talk about NIL. So Super Joe, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Everything real good. How you feeling, Martin?
Feeling good, man.
Man, yeah, I was talking about the football thing and everything. My coach said having to suspend him. Well, then a guy Hall and everything about him. Well, he's not on the team anymore.
Well, he's suspended from the team, not kicked off. I mean, suspended, but still technically on the team, just not listed on the roster. But he entered the transfer portal, so I really don't see there being a way back, but I guess technically there could be.
Well, I look at it like this, if I say this before, I said it before I even told Ryan, if I said, the one thing about this is about the program, it's not about you. Now, you got to fit the program has to fit you. So, and there's no such thing as an iron team, but this is something that's been discussed over years, and sometimes all that me first, no, it's about who the best one for the job. Now, Coach Shea, we didn't run it. Now, Coach Shea always puts the best ones out there, him and the coach said they always know what they're doing, but you got these players that just feel so, they feel they got so much luxury, and they're coming in just having their way when they make a few plays, and it doesn't work like that. And so, I don't know what all agenda this guy had. I don't know how much of an ego this man had. I don't know what kind of problem they were having with the guy. Smart said, boy, what the breaking team rules?
Yeah, he violated some team rules. That's part of the challenge. So, um, no one knows exactly what those team rules are. There's some speculation out there, but um, that's part of it. Unfortunately for this young man,
Yeah.
couldn't get it right. Just couldn't get it right. So, got anything else for me, Super Joe?
Nothing to say like this. I just can't wait for the 8A game coming up. And I just like when I hear about Jalen Milroe. Been practicing, running good, and running the first string. So one thing about it, it's not going to be a quarterback debate for the second string. I think we already know who the second man is, and roll time. And there's Super Joe. I appreciate you taking my call, Marty Moore.
All right, appreciate you, Super Joe. Thanks, sir. Yeah, that's the quarterback conversation is an interesting conversation for the first time in a long time. No question, zero at all about maybe first and second team quarterback. So that's kind of an unusual feeling around here, having back-to-back years where we've not had to worry about who the starting quarterback is without any controversy around it. So, but uh, Joe, you hear all types of things. Ajay Hall seems to be have some trouble following rules, but also from stuff you hear could be just a misunderstood, unfortunate young man. And in today's society, it doesn't take long for whether it's 100% accurate or not, but for your persona to get out there uh, and get away from you. It sounded like this young man just couldn't get all of it together, and maybe as much a victim of immaturity as he is being a troublemaker. So unfortunate. Wishing him nothing but the best, and hopefully his reputation and personality and stuff hasn't been tainted to the point that he doesn't get a chance. You know what I mean, Joe? I just don't want. I hate seeing things like this happen. Um, because if the reality of it is, somebody listening right now may be saying I'm going a little soft on him, but Joe, how many of us would have been in a similar situation if our actions at 18 and 19 uh, was put out there for the world to see and hear.
Yeah, Martin, I'm with you on that in a lot of ways. I think that a lot of people forget what it means to be 18, 19, 20,
Yeah.
and then under a microscope at that.
Right.
But I think that certainly somebody's going to give him a chance because his athleticism, his talent is really obvious out there. So you're going to see somebody like Kirby, or you're going to see somebody going to sweep in and try to say, I can save the guy. But wherever he lands, the next step, he needs to find a balance, and really everybody does once they find a little maturity. You got to find a balance between when to take things seriously and when to joke. I love to have a good time, Martin.
Yep.
But sometimes you got to dial it in and get the work done.
That's right, and it seems like I said he has some habits and personality quirks that probably didn't mesh. But you know what? He probably his whole life has been said, hey, you need to chill out. You need to stop. Hey, this is going to cost you. And it never has. I don't know that, but chances are, and it's for the first time, this could be that, game-changing moment for him. And I will not be disappointed nor surprised, Joe, if this young man goes somewhere, gets it together, and we're talking about 2 or 3 years from now, him being in one of those top 3 rounds in the NFL draft. I will not be surprised at that at all. I also won't be surprised if he doesn't learn his lesson that we never hear his name again. So that's definitely a possibility. Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes the way of another Hall kid that played wide receiver at Alabama. But I think this possibly Coach blackballed him, and there
reason that because he had maybe more talent than this one. Oh, I'm talking about potential talent.
DJ Hall.
Shame, yes, sir. It's just a shame that, to have this kind of life handed to you on a silver platter and you're not willing to accept it.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
It's sad, Pat, but I don't always blame the kids. I blame little league coaches and the adults in their life. I was watching a sermon one time, Pat, by Bishop T.D. Jakes, and it was a full pack, probably 20,000 people, and he started talking about how things were when he grew up, and the people like, amen, said we didn't walk around sagging with our clothes hanging down. They were like, amen. He said we didn't talk back to our parents. They were like, amen. He said we weren't disrespectful to our teachers, and they were like, amen. And he said, who taught you that? They said, our parents. He said, well, teach your kids and you won't have the complaints you have. So
wow.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? We sometimes as adults run around here dogging the kids and dogging this generation and all of that. Well, we became who we were because of the way our parents taught us and trained us. So if the kids today aren't doing it, hey, maybe it's because we as the parents are the ones that's dropping the ball, not the kids. Kids learn from those who show and model an example. And so yeah, it to us, because we see it, it looks like a Jai Hall maybe throwing away an opportunity. A Jai Hall thinks that it's always going to be there because no matter what he's done in his life, they've always given it back to him. So maybe he's learning a lesson, and hopefully he's learning it at a point before it cost him, everything. So,
well, before we go,
yeah.
Let's talk about NIL just a little bit, play memories and like this. They said that Arch has, Louisiana just opened up, and I kind of think that the rest of the nation has got to follow suit because, why does it matter whether you're in kindergarten or whether you're in where you are in life? If you got a pretty baby, he gets to work on the Gerber commercial, whatever. But that stopping somebody from making money in this social media thing is really, really taking off as to what they're able to make as influencers, blah, 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 whatever you come up with to be able to do. And they said that Arch has a ceiling somewhere close to 1.6 million, and I think it's really higher than that. And who would have ever thought Bryce was going to get close to $1 million? And it just looks like
Bryce Young is well over $1 million now. Bryce Young is a $1 million quarterback, and probably headed toward more than just $1 million. I mean, that BMW is 2 or 3 paychecks for a hardworking man. So just FYI, Pat.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. And,
Put it like this: Bryce Young isn't living in a dorm room with a 6.5 foot bed between a dresser and a sink.
My son visited Boyle Pro after he got hurt, and the room where Pro was staying, he just said, "Daddy, it was just so sad."
Yeah.
But I mean, and like I said, Pro had so much promise. Oh
yeah.
man, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Pat, did Louisiana hurry up and pass this law so it gives the LSU of the world a chance to maybe sweeten the pot and keep Arch in Louisiana? Because the NIL deal for the the high school kid is probably going to be more localized, right, than national, unless you're an arch. Most of the high school kids are going to get some type of local deal if they get anything at all. But you know, if I sign with you in high school, I'm more likely to re-up with you when I get to college.
What?
So,
What?
Pat, you're still there. I think Pat may have stepped away. All right, hey, let's go ahead and get the break here. Coming back, NIL. I'm not mad at you, don't hate you, but is the high school a bigger can of worms potentially even than the college? So we'll talk about that and more right here on the Martin Houston Show, talking a little spring ball. Big scrimmage coming up on tomorrow. We'll talk about it right here on the Martin Houston Show. Thanks to the great folks over at Overflow Express Wash for being a part of the show. Andy Phillips and his team do a great job, and you need to go check them out. If you are a person that likes to keep your car clean, detailed, and looking good, then Andy Phillips and his team at Overflow Express Wash can help you do that. And we wishing you nothing but the best. And I just got word that Andy had a big birthday on Wednesday, so belated happy birthday to Mr. Andy Phillips. Overflow Express Wash, overflowexpresswash.com. Go check them out and tell them that Martin Houston told you to come by.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, everything pretty quiet as we start our Friday morning. If you do see any conditions that folks need to hear about, of course, give me a call. 205. I'm sorry, Mark.
No, I actually paused because I got choked. So you did right. I didn't know if you were ready.
Go see them. I'm Captain.
Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash.
Yeah,
Their
got
mission
called
is
out
to
on
provide great packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
O'Reilly. Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to dissipate heat and friction and reduce wear. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select filter for just $33.99. Try Syntec today, exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The perfect place to make your escape. Golden Moon offers 600 finely appointed rooms with incredible views. Take a dip in our Vegas-style infinity pool, complete with a full-service bar and cabana. Experience the South's premier golf destination at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, or catch the biggest sporting events at Time Out Lounge. What are you waiting for? Come see us in Choctaw, Mississippi. Golden Moon Hotel and Casino, a Pearl River Resort property.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Well, I think, consistency in performance is, really a critical thing at corner. I think both guys have definitely, made some good plays. I think we need to do it on a more consistent basis, and I think they have to look at every opportunity they get in practice as an opportunity to compete and try to get better. And, one of the things that's really important when you play corner, they all get beat. So how you play the next play is really, really important. You got to have resiliency when you play that position so you can stay focused and not get frustrated, not get emotional, control your emotions, be able to focus on the next play. And that's what makes great competitors at that position. So those guys are making progress.
That's Coach Nick Saban talking about Kool-Aid McKinstry and Kyrie Jackson and how they're progressing. We're going to get into that DB conversation, but real quick, I'm going to ask you, Joe. Joe, what are your thoughts on the NIL at the high school level?
It's an interesting conversation, definitely, and I'm glad you brought it up here. I think that the high school level, I think the athletes that will be taking advantage of it at the high school level are few and far between. You're going to have somebody who's really taken over a city or been prominent in the city for a long, long time, like an Arch Manning, as you've insinuated. I think that he's certainly a candidate that might be the type to take advantage of something like that. I don't know that I love it as much as I do on the college level. I really do think that it's great on the college level. But at the high school level, I'm not sure that I'm as big a fan. Maybe because I grew up in a traditional household with my parents, and so they were in charge, and they kind of provided my NIL. They kind of controlled my NIL. But for a guy like Arch Manning, people with special circumstances, you remember Quinn Ewers at Texas, got himself a pretty big old deal as well. I think for those guys, it's great that they could make money. You shouldn't be capping anybody's ability to make money, but I do think that it's kind of going to be few and far between. Very, very few athletes will be able to take advantage of it at the high school level.
Yeah, and to me, it's two things. I'm a capitalist, so I definitely, if you can start using whatever God-given talent you have, if you can take that God-given talent and parlay that into a passion, a purpose, some type of plan that finances your family, your future, then I'm all for it. So, but I have more concern over it, having a negative effect. Does that make sense? Like I don't begrudge the kids from having opportunity, but if it is as wild west as the NIL is at the college level, then I think it can have a detrimental impact on some potential superstars. I don't think it'll change high school football. I think high school football, I'm just afraid you may see some of these guys making bad decisions like Ewer did. You wonder if LT, the young man who was the number one recruit in the nation coming back next year, that opted out early, was that related to getting to an NIL deal in college? I don't know that. You see what I'm saying, Joe? Just afraid that they get an NIL deal when they're a 9th and 10th grader and They keep hearing that, and all of a sudden, I'm gonna tell you, Joe. You know what drove me? You know what drove me to get up and go to practice every day, and work hard and get my grades?
Needing your scholarship.
Need my scholarship, and my scholarship being the only way that I could afford to pay for my school. And the reason that was important was I knew that's what I needed to be able to take care of my family and to live the life I wanted to live. So that was the motivating factor. Um, it, at 16, if all of a sudden I get $1 million, $2 million deal, will I still be motivated? Will a coach be able to tell me anything? You know what I mean? Hey, coach, I make more than you. Um, I drive a nicer car. It can be a game changer from that sense. And as you said, I don't think that those types of deals are going to be, all over the place like they're in college, but it could have a negative effect. So we'll watch it and see what happens. We had some audio earlier, Joe, in the conversation regarding the offensive line. Was Nick Saban deflecting? Does he really buy what he was saying in terms of the O line? That is really, we're going to benefit from the diversity that we're getting, or was that just a cover for not having a good offensive line right now?
I think Coach Saban is actually being pretty honest with the circumstances at the moment. I think that he's realized that you don't have that Darren Downford, you don't have Emil Ekiyor right now due to injury. So I think he realizes that this is a great chance to just try some guys out in a lot of different positions. I think that Javion Cohen is locked in there and probably going to be a guard going forward. But I think was pretty upset with how the offensive line looked last year. How it was a topic of conversation pretty much all year long, and I think a way to avoid that or mitigate that is to just give reps to everybody, give reps to anybody, and whoever steps up. You got all spring basically because Ekiyor, Ekiyor might be back before the end of spring, but he said that Darren Downford was going to be out all spring. So you got all spring to really mix and match and find guys and really put their feet to the fire ahead of summer workouts.
Yeah, and I don't think this would be his preference. And as you know, if you've listened to Coach Stallings on the game with Ryan Fowler that airs at 2:00 right here on Tide 100.9 every day, and Coach Stallings, you've heard him say, "Hey man, I want to have my top 22, man. I want to know who went first." Well, of course that's what you want, right? But if you know that your top 22 isn't going to be an option necessarily because you know that at least one, if not two of the top 11 aren't even practicing, why get locked in? So I think is a pretty brilliant move. And another thing that I would add to that, Joe, that makes me think that he was not just talking about it, I would not be surprised even if those guys were there with Wolford coming in as a new coach, going, "Hey, coach, I think there's some guys we may have had out of position last year, and that may have been some of the challenge, and maybe we need to move some guys around." So because I think a lot of times we lock in kids to a position because they started doing something and we don't ever give them another opportunity. Great example of that is I take it to a basketball court, right? Think about why was it that European big men used to be the only big men that could shoot? Because in America, what were we doing, Joe, with the big men? If they were big when they were little, what did we tell them? Oh, you can't shoot. You have to play with your back to the goal, right? And so they grew up and they never could shoot. And so it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now you have big men seeing that these international players are coming over here can shoot, and all of a sudden, after Dirk and all those guys, now you see big men from America shooting the ball at an early age, and then they still continue to grow and become, 6'10", and like the kid from Duke and the kid from Auburn this year, both 6'10" can handle the ball and all that because they weren't limited. And I think that's what you see with Nick Saban and this offensive line. Any other comments on that, Joe? I think it will be beneficial when you get those guys back.
Yeah, I think the Coach Saban's comments on Wednesday were just kind of setting the expectation of patience that we're not going to have an answer by the end of the spring. So
Yep.
I think he was just kind of trying to set that expectation.
And I don't think that's all bad that we don't have it, because we have a couple starters from last year's team that's not even practicing. So even if you had the starting five that we think is a starting five, is probably not the starting five without at least one of those guys being in there at right guard, and Ekior and Dalcourt fighting either to be the center and or guard, and Kit Cohen out to left tackle or right tackle or whatever. So there's still a lot of work to be done. I just like the fact that he said that they're getting better, that they're growing, and that the run blocking is ahead of where it was. The run game is ahead of where it was last year. Now we got to work on the pass protection for our $1 million quarterback. Coming back on the other side, we'll do a little rundown. We'll talk about those DBs and then run down a couple more positions and get your thoughts, Joe, on spring practice on tomorrow.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Towns and Nissan Traffic Center, everything's still looking pretty good on this Friday morning on the roadways. Some minor congestion on that Fallen and Northport and on 69 at Scotland. If you see other conditions, of course, give me a call. Towns and Nissan has an amazing selection of new cars, trucks, SUVs, and they really want your trade. They'll save you thousands. Go see them. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Friday morning. Work Zone Awareness Week begins Monday, and with the amount of work being done on Alabama's roadways, the safety message is even more imperative, according to Aldon spokesman John D. McWilliams. According to recent data, there were 2,349 work zone crashes in Alabama in 2021, including 17 fatalities and 420 crashes with injuries. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free. Don Merkley, Townsburg Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Carving, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Carving at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Carving, LLC.
Tuscaloosa Gunsmith does gun repair, modifications, cleaning, Cerakoting, and laser engraving for guns, and they sell Black Rifle coffee. Tuscaloosa Gunsmith, just off 15th Street behind the fire station. It's the Tuscaloosa Community Calendar, brought to you by Pepsi.
The Tuscaloosa Gauntlet, a Marine-inspired 5K obstacle course race, is set for Saturday, April 9th at the Buddy Powell Pavilion near Sokol Park. This first-time event is hosted by the Alabama Marines Foundation in partnership with Para and Tuscaloosa Tourism and Sports. The course is open and welcome to all. For details, log on to TuscaloosaGauntlet.com. For details, log on to TuscaloosaGauntlet.com.
Some might call it a party, but we call it a planting, as it benefits our future. Child Abuse Prevention Services will host this 3rd annual Blue Ribbon Gala at the 9 Washington Cultural Arts Center on Friday, April 29th from 6 to 9 p.m. with entertainment from the Joas Band and Misha Lanier as the keynote speaker. This semi-formal blue affair is sure to be anything but blue. To join Lanier Automotive, CMB Holdings Group LLC, Crawford Insurance, Allstate Michelle Colby Agency, and Town Square Media as sponsors, contact CAPS Board President Terry Banks at 205-310-3255.
Weather brought to you by Tidwell Chiropractic, the only 3rd-generation chiropractor in Tuscaloosa with over 24 years experience. Call Tidwell Chiropractic at 752-7503.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
consistency in performance is still, the most critical, part of playing any position. It's no different at that position. And I think we have, enough guys that have the skill level that we need to have. I think they got to play hard and fast, and you got to do things a certain way when you play receiver. You can't ad lib because the quarterback has got to make quick decisions, and timing is involved. So the precision that you need and the discipline you need to have the precision, so that we can develop, chemistry in the passing game, is, critical, to being successful in that part of the game. And I think some of the young guys, they got to continue to develop and grow and understand the importance of that.
As Coach Nick Saban talking about the wide receiver position, we were going to break. We were talking about that O-line, whether Nick Saban was kind of softening the blow for us as fans, or was he really legit in his statement of it's been good to have the opportunity to move some guys around. I think it's both. And Curtis Moore saying it's just the second saying it's just too bad for Darian Dalcourt. I would have loved to see him try out at one of those guard spots. I think he could have possibly been one of the best five out there. I still think that he'll get that opportunity in the fall to either win his spot back at center and or become one of those guards. I think that's still in the works. All right, Joe, I was looking at the defensive backs in this roster. We've talked a lot about outside linebacker because we got some elite there. But, man, I'm not sure that this may not be potentially the best defensive backfield we've seen under Nick Saban, not from the standpoint of that we have overall right now, number one draft pick that could leave after this. I mean, could have left and, been that, because that's what we've had in the past. But when you start naming the DBs and the experience and just the number of plays that these guys have made and the talent, and then you add Eli Ricks to it, Kool-Aid McKinstry, DeMarco Hellams, Kyrie Jackson, Eli Ricks, Jordan Battle, guys who have not even got on the field that are talented. Christian Story, Terrion Arnold, guys who have played a lot of reps since they were freshmen. Malachi Moore, Brian Branch. I mean, Devontae Smith, the DB that hadn't got on it. But is this potentially, have we been so enamored with other positions that we're really sleeping on how good this defensive backfield could be?
Yeah, Martin, they're stockpiled with talent. Coach Saban's really been adding to that position year after year, and I think adding Eli Ricks is just kind of an extra cherry on top. I thought they were going to be fine with Kool-Aid and Kyrie.
Right.
With Kool-Aid, Kyrie, and you look at Traquan Fagans they just brought in. They've been adding to the defensive backfield. They've been hitting pretty well in recruiting over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and so when you look at that depth, I mean, you think about the maturity. When was the last time we had a senior defensive back at safety? A field general like a Jordan Battle, and then Brian Branch, even though he's a junior, I mean, he's been starting since he was a freshman, him and Malachi Moore. Just so much experience in the safety world. And I believe that group is what their success is going to take this group over the top, Joe, because I believe if you watch our DBs, if they are able to do what they do and do it at a high level, it's just going to make that front seven just, unbelievable. I mean, it's just exciting to watch and be able to see DBs be that. Other than the DBs, Joe, who you watching if you're out there tomorrow as a coach? What's at the front of your mind?
Oh, well, the offensive line rotation seems like the easiest answer.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be watching. I'd like to be watching that. But outside of DBs and offensive line, Martin, I'd like to see how he uses the outside linebacker. Maybe give Will Anderson another day off. and see how Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner can man the edges themselves. I think Chris Braswell is really coming along out there. But I really, the offensive line is going to have my focus. I know that after scrimmage on Saturday, Coach Saban will meet with the media, and that's probably going to be a lot of the focus of the conversation.
Yeah, and as you say, that's low-hanging fruit, and so we want – I could add to that conversation, but we're going to pass on that because it is what it is. But a group that we've not really talked about, and then we saw yesterday news that Caden Clark was leaving as a tight end. You just wonder, man, are we going to have to change our offensive philosophy? Or are we going to have enough tight ends? Or are we going to try to find the tight end in the portal? What are your thoughts in terms of that, real quick, in terms of the tight end position?
I'm not too worried about losing Caden Clark. I think we brought in a couple tight ends in this recruiting class.
Yeah.
We brought in 3 in this class, and 1 enrolled, and we're waiting on 2 to come in. I
Yeah.
think we'll be okay.
Yeah, and that's the key is if they can get there. We got 3 coming. Let's hope that they're ready to play because right now you got Cameron Latou, Adam Thorsland, Elijah Brown, Jax Potter, Robbie Oots, Charlie Skien, and Robert Ellis. So feeling great about that. Oh, and don't forget Randolph if he doesn't win the tackle position. So that's who I'd be watching to see what we got there and see if I need to hit the portal. We'll find out if we do after tomorrow. I may or may not be able to get to the stadium tomorrow. If I do, of course, I can't talk about what I see, but we'll see. Yeah, right. All right, you listen to the Martin Houston Show, Joe, on Tide 100.9. It's going to be a big scrimmage tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll learn more about this 2022 version of the Alabama Crimson Tide team. Who will be the standout player? We'll be talking about that on Monday. Hey, have a great weekend, guys and gals. Stay safe out there. And if you get a chance, stop by Harvest Church out in Coker, Alabama. We'd love to have you as a guest right there on Highway 82 heading toward Gordo, just past the airport. That's Harvest Church, hctuscaloosa.org. Hey, for the Martin Houston Show, remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, always acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Thanks to all the caller listeners, viewers, and chatters, and thank you, Joe, and the producers for a great week. Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide.
Have a good one, Joe.